whatever you're going to pick in life, you're not married to it.
Yeah.
You can change it anytime.
Yes.
If one day you decided you want to be a chef and open a restaurant, okay, but
Yeah.
go learn. Like, that's the most beautiful thing in the world. You know, you're not stuck.
You wanna be a boss again. No shortcuts, no easy way. You wanna be a boss again.
Welcome back to the BILFpod, where authenticity trumps authority. And I am here today with a beautiful actress, model, gorgeous, beautiful author. I have Keni Silva here. Wait, but before you even get to talk,
Okay.
do you know what a BILF is?
No.
You don't know what a BILF is? It's a boss I'd like to follow.
Oh my God, that's an honor. Like, I love that.
That's you. You're a BILF. That's why.
I get it. It's like, I love that. Can I get it in writing?
Yes, I'm going to give you a BILF certificate.
Oh my God, I love this. I'm going to put it next to my divorce certificate, you know, divorce coach. I'm going to be an official boss.
You'll be a BILF coach.
BILF coach.
I'm so excited that you're here. We're live on location here at the Godfrey in freezing cold LA. I'm glad that you told me that 70 degrees in Florida is complete. Now I'll know for next time.
Yes.
I might come out here. But you are a model, media personality, right? Philanthropist, and an author of a best-selling book. So let's talk about that a little bit. You really are a true BILF, a mom too.
Yeah.
2 kids, right?
2 kids.
13 and 16.
So my daughter is going to be 17 and my son is going to be 13 next month.
How do you do it?
I don't think I can do any other way, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. When I have a free day, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, okay, I have to find a new project. I think I work better under stress.
Yes.
And I think multitasking, and I always have to have something in mind that I'm working towards.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel I'm not fulfilled. And that's what I think happened in my marriage. I was so concentrated on one thing, building the family, being the best mom, that I lost that part of me inside, being that boss,
Yeah.
creating something for myself. And that's where then happiness came. And it has nothing to do, I mean, there's obviously couples arguing
Right.
things, but for me, the biggest thing, I lost myself. And that's why I say divorce as an opportunity, because it was sad because it's something ended, but it was also a new beginning.
Yes.
It was the rebirth of me. Something that I met my ex, I was 23. And when I filed divorce, I was 38. And it was time for a change. And
Yeah.
I mean, changes are scary.
They are.
And you don't know, you know, how it's going to be, the fear of unknown, the
Yeah.
fear of, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm losing everything I have for nothing.
Yeah.
And I just started thinking like, okay, well, I don't even know what I want at this point.
Yeah.
Because I'm a totally new person. You know, like
Yes.
20s and 30s are very different.
Completely different.
Especially for a woman, once you become a mother, you become responsible for another person.
Yes.
And you start realizing like, okay, well, I'm raising them to be somebody. I know who I want them to be, but I don't know who I want to be.
Yeah.
And I started looking into that, and I realized in my marriage, it was not where I could find that. And coming to that decision was actually very hard.
Yeah.
And scary. It's like admitting waking up in a beautiful home with everything you ever wanted. And you're like, you know what? I'm not happy. And saying it out loud and saying, I
Yes.
want to change. It was scary.
That's so cool. Everything that you're saying, I can 100% relate, because I also met my husband when I was 21, my ex-husband, and I was divorced by 30. But I remember on my 30th birthday, blowing out the candles. I'll never forget this. I blew out the candles and I knew I was getting divorced. I knew it. And it was scary because I was afraid of what my family thought. There was no divorce in my family. I was afraid of what everybody else was going to think, but there was something inside of me that just wasn't the same person as I was when I was 21, 22 years old. And now here I am, 30, 2 kids. And I'm like, oh my God. And you're right. You have a beautiful home. You have beautiful kids. But when you are not fulfilled inside, that is when things have to change immediately. So it's just funny that you even talked about that, because that's exactly what happened for me. And I made the decision. And honestly, getting divorced really ignited this fire inside of me. And that's when my career took off, believe it or not. I love my ex-husband. I just don't want to be married to him. And I'm sure he feels, I'm sure he feels the same way.
And it's, you know, it is normal. And I think a lot of women don't realize it's okay. You still can be friends. I still tell him, like, listen, like, if you need me, like, I'll be there to take you to the doctor,
Yeah.
like, do whatever you
Same.
need. We're still best
Just
friends.
don't want to be married
It's
to
just
you.
like, I still love you. I'm not in love with you.
Yeah,
And
just
it's
don't wanna be married to you.
Exactly. And I'm like, and that's why in the book, I opened the book with saying, I take full responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't want to blame whatever happened, and that's the biggest thing I think we need to let go of the past. We need
Yes.
to accept it, grieve, heal, and then move forward and say, you know what? It was, that's the past. I can't change it. No
Yeah.
matter what happens, but the future I want different.
Yeah.
And I want to build from, even if you didn't have a good relationship during marriage, you can still create a beautiful relationship after,
For sure.
especially if you have children.
Yeah, agreed. Exactly. Same thing. I love my ex-husband. I will help him. I'm usually the first person to help him too. But being married to him is not something that is ever going to happen. And you know what? Beautiful things did come from it. I have 2 beautiful children. We had a lot of great times, a lot of great memories. But you're right. I accept full responsibility. I left. I was the one that left. I'm the one that, I guess, ruined the marriage. And but I wouldn't change anything. And I'm not apologetic for it. I'm 100% happy with the decision that I made, and I think I'm a better person for it, and the kids are better for it.
Yeah.
Everybody, all of us, we're in great places in our lives, and you can have a divorce and then still relive you can still ignite who you are and then live, and be prosperous and have this amazing life outside of it. There is life beyond divorce.
Yes, 100%.
There
and
you
I
go.
think that's where the strength comes in, when you realize all that. You don't sit and blame, well, why didn't it work out?
No.
You just, you know what? Okay, next.
Yeah, that's all you
It's like,
can
It
do.
is. Like,
Yeah.
it just happened.
Yeah, and I think our relationship is better that we're divorced than when we were married. It works. We co-parent great. We have great conversations, but we're just never going to be married again. Never. But you've had such a diverse career and dynamic between you modeled, which is amazing. TV. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's dig a little deep and talk about that. So tell me about it, and then tell me about your philanthropist that you're doing, your philanthropy that you're doing.
I started modeling, I was 14. And actually, I was
You're
very
beautiful,
shy.
gorgeous.
Thank you. To me, it was more to find the freedom. I grew up in Moscow, and I wanted to find that freedom in making money when I was very young. Like, there's something, I grew up in a middle-class family. I went to a great school. I learned English, German, like so many languages. For my parents, it was very important to have a degree and to go to a university, get a business. That's why I have so many degrees, because it's so easy for me. And that's something that my parents expected from me.
Yeah.
But I always wanted the freedom to do and travel and do what I want. And my mom always told me, you have to be financially independent from that. So at 14, 15, I'm not the person who like serve tables. That's not me.
Right.
But I figured, I'm like, okay, I look beautiful. I can make money in modeling. Why not?
Right. Seriously.
And I started, and at 18, I went to Milan. I lived in Milan, and I still go back to Moscow to finish my education. At 19, I came here. I had a contract with Elite, and I loved it. Like, I loved every step of the way. And at 23, I met my ex-husband. I'm like, I was planning actually to move to New York.
Ooh.
And he's like, well, why wouldn't you stay? I said, if I'm going to stay, that LA is not a modeling place, I would go and get a fashion degree. So I have that. So, and then like different things. And it just, when we were together, we invested a lot in real estate. So I got my broker real estate license. So it's like always, and I think, and I tell my children, I said, whatever you're going to pick in life, you're not married to it.
Yeah.
You can change it anytime.
Yes.
If one day you decided you want to be a chef and open a restaurant, okay, like go learn. Like, that's the most beautiful thing in the world. You're not stuck. You can change. You can change your career. You can be whoever you want to be. You want to sing. You want to be a lawyer. Everything is possible. You're going to have to work for it.
Yeah.
Nothing comes easy. I tell them from the beginning. I'm like,
for sure.
Nothing comes easy. It's like, sometimes my son is like, like home. I'm like, listen, like, I get it. I was a kid too at school. Homework is boring, but it teaches you to do things that are necessary to get somewhere.
Right.
It has nothing to do, like, it's not really like you're smart or not smart. It's just you have to follow through.
Yeah. That's really what it is. You're right.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. So now you're modeling. Okay. And then TV personality, like, where did that come from? Author, like all these degrees. How did you have time to do all this? You have 1 million degrees. Like, you really are a bill.
I don't know. Well, I feel like 24 hours is not enough for me in an hour, in a day. I guess I lived a long life and I had so many lives in one life because I'm always evolving. I'm always, to be
So
personality, my
important.
girlfriend was a housewife and I was actually going through divorce and it was something to get my mind off. You go and get ready and you go and you film. It's something funny and it's just like, it was an escape from reality. Let's
Yeah.
put it this way. And after that, it was done. It was not something I wanted. But the book, I used to journal my whole life. But during divorce, especially because I'm a very private person in the sense, we didn't even tell anybody we were going through divorce until later on, until like we already were divorced. And I did it because, Orange County is a much smaller community and we lived through divorce in the same house. We went on vacations, we went to dinners. I wanted to preserve that life for my children as much as I can. At the time, I thought it was a good idea. Now I'm like, it doesn't really matter. It's like, rip the band-aid as fast as you can. It's like the healing starts.
Yeah.
But at the time, that's what it was. And I didn't want people to start gossiping and talking and get to my children. And, so we lived together during divorce. And the only way I didn't want to tell my friends a lot of things. So I was journaling. I was journaling from fears to emotional things that I was going through. And then I started realizing like, wow, I'm learning so many things too, like the advice that my attorney get or the things I started because I always do planning years in advance. So I'm like, okay, like this is what I need to work on. This is like what's like from where to leave, what to get to where I want to be. And that's how it kept me also motivated and something working towards. And then I realized there's so much I learned. I'm like, divorce is not all about sadness. And I don't even want to remember it as something sad.
Yeah.
Because I learned so much. It's like I grew as a person and I want to teach women. One time and we women are very emotional. Let's put it this way.
Yes, for
And then
sure.
I learned differences from how men look at it, how women look at it. And I was like, this is different. Like men look at it as a business transaction versus women, we emotionally invested in something. And I decided I want to share it with the world, with men, women. And it's a guide from exactly steps in divorce
Yeah.
and how to be prepared for it, how to be financially prepared for your next chapter, how to start preparing for your next chapter, what to expect, how to tell your children. And and I give my feedback that listen, it's okay to not know what you want. It's okay to have fears. It's okay to give yourself the first 6 months after divorce as a healing process, as a grieving process, as not expecting from yourself to reach to the moon.
Yeah.
It's all okay. It's normal,
I love that you did that. I wish that I had something like that because you really going through divorce is you're going from being with another person, where your life is you're together, you're kind of, it's 50-50, you have help. And then you all of a sudden are in this space very alone. You have couple friends, right? Like you don't even consider because I remember we had couple friends. So what does that mean? Like who is your friend now? Are you still going with them and hanging out, but on your own? Like it was very strange. And you do feel very alone when you're going from that couple world to that single world. And then you're right with the kids, like you're used to being with a partner and being with the kids. Now you have to have your own relationship outside of that. So, I mean, I think what you did is incredible. You really took it and made a roadmap for people or for men or women to kind of look at it and at least be prepared for what lies ahead. That's incredible. That really is. That is so amazing.
Actually about friendship. That's why I give it advice in my book. I started a whole new group of friends. So they never knew my ex-husband. They didn't know me being married.
Wow.
And it's so much easier because I told my friends, I'm like, I don't want to give you a choice. Like, I don't want you to pick.
Yeah.
And they are in uncomfortable situations because they don't know, like, okay, well, and I'm like, listen, it's all good. You can be friends with him, with me, with both of us. I don't care. It's not important for me. So I had a whole new group of friends that didn't even know him. And it was so much easier because you don't have to talk about things you don't want to. They don't know him. Yeah. And that's like number one thing, like, okay, get your new group of friends.
Yes.
Things like that. What to like with kids, how to adjust, actually, what you just said, the hardest thing after divorce was knowing there's no that wall or shoulder to lean on. If you have a flat tire, there's nobody to call. Okay, what do I do? It's just you.
Yeah.
And first it's a shock, but then you realize you become so strong.
I was just going to say that. You become so much more independent.
Independent.
Because,
You
yes,
get control over your life.
complete control, and you don't have to answer to anybody. I think that
No.
was the most freeing part about it, is that I could make decisions, or the decisions that were made, I made them. So if things were to fall apart, that would be on me.
Exactly.
And not, that wouldn't be,
Yes.
it's not joint, but it did make me so much more independent. I didn't even have, when I left my ex-husband, I had no money, like nothing at all. I didn't even know how to rent an apartment. I had no idea. And I just didn't do that stuff. Like, he took care of all that stuff, the mortgage, and we literally.
I put a spreadsheet for women what to expect, what bills to expect to pay.
I had
Because
no
a lot
idea.
of people don't even have a checking
No
account.
idea. I didn't have a savings. I didn't have life insurance. I had no real planning. I left with 2 kids. That's what I left with. And then I had to figure out the rest. And had I had a guide or book, that would have been life-saving for sure. That's so crazy. So now you write this amazing book. Tell me a little bit about the philanthropy that you're doing.
Well, I always loved doing things. I think it was my calling, actually, to help people in a different way. And I'm not talking just about financially. It's more, to me, it's direct helping, either feeding, like poor people, or giving something, or I just always loved that. And
Yeah.
especially now with the book, when women come up to me and they say, like, you changed my life, that's what makes me go.
Oh, I love that.
But I always wanted to do a little bit bigger and be on a board of a foundation. And with my daughter health scare, she had a adrenal tumor that was so big that the doctors thought she's going to have stage 2 cancer. And thank God it was not, it was benign. But the same week, my friend, he asked me to be on a board of a charity that I just came back from their gala for pediatric cancer. And it was just like a universe showing me the path. Because I always ask for universe to show me my path. And it's like, okay, like, just I'll work it through. Just show me where to go.
Yes.
Shine the light. And that was it. And it's been, like, I've been on the board for the last 2 years. That was, and I'm so proud of what we do, because I strongly believe we not just, donate money for pediatric cancer research. We also partner up with hospitals around the country to give them art and music program. And my daughter is a musician, so I know how music therapeutic for these children. Sometimes it's just feeling normal, just being a kid and doing something with arts and music. And it's so important. So
I love that.
my philanthropy started a long time ago with different companies, with different organizations. But this is where my true calling now
I love
is
that.
being on the board of COSF and doing something extremely meaningful. We just had our gala in Aspen, our annual gala, and my daughter was performing actually the song there, because most of her music, she puts her pain through what she went in the lyrics of the songs. So it's called Backseat Driver, because she felt when she was sick, she was in the back, because I didn't tell her. I wasn't telling her. I was so scared to tell your child that, like, you have a tumor that's potentially.
How old was she? How old was she when
she was? Well, she's going to be 17. At the time, she was 14. And it was after divorce already. And I just, like, she just went through one traumatic experience. And I didn't know. So she only figured it out because she was in the cancer floor. She's like, Mom, like, I figured it out. Like, it says everywhere, oncology, like, kids with, like, it's like, but ever since that, she told me, it's like, please never hide anything from me. I'd rather know what I'm going through and I'm fighting for, and we can do it together, versus not knowing is scary.
So basically, like, kids, I think in the end, they just want to be loved. That's all. And they don't really give a shit about anything else. And they want to know that you're happy. I know that from my kids. Like, my kids always say to me, they are always like, we never want you to be with dad ever, because you're much happier without dad. And it's true, because they really don't care. And for them, they are so resilient, and they accept it. They know that we both love them, and it is what it is. Like, they're absolutely okay with it, and they adjusted just fine.
For me, it was a big thing. I was very scared that my kids would judge that I broke the family. And
I can understand that.
And then now, with time and me explaining to them, and, like, my daughter, especially for my daughter, because my son was still too little to, but she's a teenager, she understands everything. And she now tells me, it's like, Mom, like, I understand why you did what you did.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you living your full life. And I
Yes.
said, you know what, Alexis? Honestly, the part of me doing what I did, because you as a woman, I want you to know we sacrifice a lot as women,
Yes.
a lot.
Especially
And
as moms.
As moms.
Oof.
And I wanted you to see that, you know, if you're not happy, it doesn't matter. You know, it's a marriage, it's work. You can change that.
Yes, and you don't have to stay.
You don't
Amen.
have to stay.
Amen. I
And
think
I'm like,
so
I
many women
honestly
stay.
wanted to show you as an example. Because I
Yes.
know my parents stayed married for me.
Which
you know?
you don't want them to do
And
that.
I remember since the age of 12, I wanted them to get divorced. And I felt like the reason they were not happy is because, you know, they had to stay in something they didn't want because of me. So I left the house at 17. It was like, okay, like, go get divorced.
Yeah. It's the same thing for my daughter. I do remember feeling like, how am I going to tell her the truth? Because I did this. I left.
Yeah.
But you know what? My daughter doesn't care. And you're right. I want my daughter to know that she does not ever have to stay somewhere that she's unhappy. And the minute she's unhappy, she's to leave.
Yes.
I would never want her to stay. You don't, especially for a woman, you know,
Yes.
having a daughter, you know what it's like. They already have so much pressure. And then to feel like they're stuck is the worst feeling. And I remember feeling like that, like, oh my God, I'm stuck. I'm going to be the first in my family to be divorced. You know, what is everyone going to think? Oh my God, my kids. But you know what? In the end, I can tell you hands down that was the best thing I could have ever done for her to see, like you said, and just for me, myself, and to become who I became after the divorce. Incredible. I'm on the same page with you. I'm on the same page. So tell me a little bit about your modeling career, though. What like drew you to it, and like the fashion industry too?
But the fashion, it was more of a freedom in making money early. And just listen, I love fashion. Honestly,
like
that's
that.
why I graduated from theater. I have fashion degrees. Like fashion is something to me, you know, like for actors, acting is like they're somebody for a day or for a movie. It's a different personality. To me, that's what fashion is. Like, of
You're
course,
very fashionable today.
Thank you so much. Just like, you know, like, especially being a mom, it's like most of the time, like, hey, you get up at 6, you go to school, like you in sweatpants.
Yes.
So fashion to me is like, for a day, I get to be who I want to be, and it changes the mood. And actually, especially during divorce, you know, when you don't feel as confident, the look, the outfit, the dress can change who you are. A lot of times, even when I have meetings over Zoom at home, which I can wear whatever I want, even the phone call, I dress up, even nobody sees me. But it's like the moment you put that suit on, it's something with your personality that changes. And it's incredible because a lot of people ask me like, okay, what do you do to boost your confidence? And I'm like, simply by putting something.
Get dressed. Yes. And
get
dressed.
I
talk about this all the time. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. And that starts with, I try like if I'm feeling, even if I'm like, I feel a little sick and I know I need to like go to work or whatever I need to do, the first thing I do is put my makeup on, and then I'll get dressed and wear something nice, like look really nice. It does. It changes. It gives you like a confidence booster. You know, you're like, oh, you know, when you're feeling yourself, you're like, oh,
exactly. You're unstoppable. Like, okay, I can conquer the world.
Yes, when you look good, right? You put on a beautiful dress, or like, you know, I had my hair done this morning. I felt horrible. I was so hungover today. And as soon as I like had my hair done and my makeup done and I looked in the mirror, I'm like, okay. All right, here we go. Like Mara is back. You know, it's like all of a sudden you take the mask and like, there she is. I'll be like, oh, there she is. And then you feel good about yourself.
Because you forget, you know, like with busy lives and running 100 things around, sometimes, and especially I know for me, I'm perfectionist. So unless it's like to perfection, it's like even my mom is like, okay, like you should be proud you did this. So now I celebrate things, small achievements. And actually that's been a biggest also confidence boost. Like, okay, like, well, I'm not talking like my book launch, but like small things. Okay, I did this first time. Or I just came from Tamron Hall show. I'm like, okay, I did this. Like, yay, check mark, celebrate. And that I realize gives you not just the confidence, but also something that you start realizing how big you grew. And you're proud. I mean, obviously I'm very proud of myself, but sometimes you forget, like, because you're always on the next thing.
And you want more. It's like never enough.
It's never enough.
I know.
And then there's moments when, like, I'm telling you, like, I have a day, like, I'm not doing much, you know, work related or something, and you start like feeling down. And I'm like, okay, reminder, you just did this, you just did this. It's okay. Like celebrate what you already, be grateful and being present. That's what's like I'm implementing in my life.
This is the thing I think I struggle with is being present, you know, because I think people like us, like we're always looking for more and evolution and continuously growing. And then you forget to live present. And I'm also trying to like be more present because I'm not home with the kids a lot, but when I am home, I'm very intentional and very present with them. Because you're right. You're like life in itself is just so hard. And then here you are, you're constantly on the go, constantly doing stuff because it's never enough, right? I always feel like it's never enough. I'm never doing enough, right? Like I just think like, I'm like, as you're saying, I'm like thinking of all the stuff that I did, like I've done and I'm doing, and I'm like, that's still not enough, you know? But the most important part is to be intentional with what you're doing in presence. And we lose out on that so much. So now after this divorce, okay, so I'm going to switch gears for 1 second. After the divorce, you became a divorce coach?
Yes.
Wow.
So during writing a book,
and being a mom, and everything else, and a bill.
Like one day, I remember I was preparing for a podcast, and I was listening to the previous speaker, and she was a divorce coach. I didn't even realize there's such a thing exists, to be honest with you. I'm like, then I Googled, and I'm like, okay, like, that's easy. That's doable. Like, what else am I doing with my nights when I don't have kids?
Yeah, so let's add that on my plate. Why not?
I remember my boyfriend calls me. He's like, why are you so happy? I'm like, I'm going to be a certified divorce coach. He's like, wait, what? I'm like, listen, like some women get excited of buying a bag. I'm excited of getting a new degree. Like this is
I like
me.
that. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. And I did it. Like, I signed up. It's online education and I get past it. Because honestly, once you go through divorce, you know, like it's, you know everything.
Yeah.
Like you don't even need to like study. I mean, obviously I studied, but it's, you live through it.
Yes.
You know what it is.
Yes.
And to me, because I wanted helping women, you know, and advocating, not just because, listen, I'm very realistic about myself. So when people look at me, they're like, okay, like she's blonde, dumb, you know, like was married well. So I know how people perceive me. I'm very realistic about, I'm not like, and I'm like, you know what? But once I have a degree, people love that. Like they're gonna look at me as, you know, she's an expert because she's an expert.
No,
so,
you look like an expert to me. You do. You look like an expert. You do. And then when you start speaking, it's over. It's done.
I know it's a secret weapon. It's like, okay, like there's so many things in, you know, having the face. It was like, okay, first they all underestimate me, and then it's different, and I love it. But it was something I just wanted, I guess, for myself. And the book also, besides writing and helping, it was something I said, you know what, I'm going to do something I never did before. It was proving to myself that after divorce, I can do whatever I want. I can start and finish.
Yeah.
It was for me too, you know, because, you know, like exactly, like we did everything together with my ex. So you're used to having a partner. And now this was my project. And I wanted to show my kids, my ex, I did it all by myself. I figured it out. And I'm showing a living proof example to anybody that you can do whatever you put your mind into. It wasn't easy. It took me 2 years.
For sure.
It took a lot of figuring out. It took a lot of side maps, roadmaps, sleepless nights, crying it out. Like, but I did it.
You did. Yeah. And you should be so proud. Wow. That's, I mean, it only makes sense. So you wrote a book and now you help other women. And I don't think that, that women, I don't even think that I realize how important it is to have somebody, some kind of support there and somebody that you can go to, because you don't know, you really don't know what to do after. You don't know about the lights or how to do that, how to start that, how to call the utilities. And then just doing this.
Sometimes you just want to have somebody who you can talk to without knowing you're going to be judged, or, you know, like maybe you shouldn't be saying things, because it's not, listen, I love girlfriends, you know, it's like free therapists in a sense, but you still realize like there's a lot of times you don't want to say things to them.
Yes.
You just want to go and talk to somebody
neutral,
who you just let
unbiased,
it all out.
Yes.
Unbiased. And then they also can give you an advice that's real advice. That's somebody that knows what they're going through.
So how do people locate you? If somebody wanted to use you as their coach, how would they locate you?
Well, I have a website, kenisilva.com, so they can directly message me. But eventually, my goal is I would love to have a show where a woman can come and I can interview, and they can hear something. Because honestly, besides, we can do, if you don't have time or money to hire somebody, we are so self-sufficient as women, we can help ourselves. And that's why this book, once you read it, there are so many things you can implement or you can do that, a lot of times, like, you don't even need anybody.
Yes,
you can figure it all out.
I love that. What would be for the women out there, because there's women out there that are going to watch this and they're in a horrible situation. They're scared, they're whatever the case may be, but they're staying in this marriage because they feel like they have to. What would be your best piece of advice?
Well, I would never say go get divorced. That's not me. It's there. It has to be their own decision.
Yeah.
But the one thing I have to say, if you decided to go with the divorce, you just the knowledge of what it is, how to prepare for it. The biggest thing that we all have is the fear of unknown. So once you know what it is to go through divorce, what it is that you need to prepare for the divorce, for the after. Yeah. The more you know, the less fear you have. And that's the most important, the more control you have over your life. So that's the beginning of it. And then you just start shifting your mindset that, and let it go and realizing like, it would be a very uncomfortable period of time, but it's okay. Yeah. Some divorces are better, some divorces are worse. Don't take anything personal because divorce is like a mini war. You see things out of pain and your other partner says things out of pain too.
Yeah.
And you have to remember you got married to one person, you're going to divorce two people because it's you and your attorney. And a lot of times the decisions that your partner makes is affected by the attorney that's counseling him.
Right.
So you have to take all that into consideration.
Yeah. I love that. That's such great advice. I mean, what you're saying, there was tons of useful information that, that's not often talked about. This is like a very taboo subject, especially amongst society. Even today, divorce is still kind of frowned upon. Yes. But you gave such insightful, I loved everything that you had to say. You do have to realize that there is life beyond divorce. Yes. There is. And I think a lot of people, women and men, don't realize, but you can come out better on the other end. You learn a lot of lessons. You learn who you are. You learn a lot of what life has to bring. You just learn so much in the process of it. And divorce is scary. You're right. I would never recommend it. Like, that's your last resort. Like, I want people to be clear. We're not saying go to get a divorce immediately. That's not the message. That's like the last resort. But just to know that divorce is, it happens, but you do come out. You can be better for it. And you take what you've learned and you take the memories. There's still memories. There's still your memories. And you move forward. And that's what it comes down to. So I cannot thank you enough. This was such an insightful conversation. Everything that you said is so true. I definitely 100% believe in it. I've lived it also. So thank you so much for joining me today. I had such a great talk with you, and I cannot wait to see what else you're doing. And if anybody wants to follow you, where would they follow you?
On Instagram.
Instagram?
Yes.
And what's your next big project that you have going on?
Well, I'm writing my next book.
Ooh.
It's going to be about
volume 2?
Well, it's actually going to be about relationship because I've been married for so long. So I know, and it would be more about how to stay married, how to get married, how to make the guy to propose to you. And I will have male experts, men telling what women do right or wrong, besides of what I think I know.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I cannot wait to see it. I'm going to have to read it. Now I'm going to have to read it. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Until next time.
Thanks.